I remember 2020, started the pandemic. Um, I started having pain in my right rib. And I remember mentioning it to you several times, but like I said, I work out a lot. So I just thought I pulled a muscle or bruised a rib or something along those lines. And then in July of 2020, we went hiking in Colorado. And I couldn't go 20 yards without my heart rate shooting up and just being so short of breath. And I remember telling you, like, this isn't normal. And then fast forward another month, I started getting a cough that just lingered, went to the doctor, drew blood, tested all that, started me on antibiotics, did a steroid, nothing helped. And then September, I went back in and I told my primary care doctor, who's also a family friend, I said, it's just not getting better. These steroids aren't working, the antibiotics aren't working. So we did a couple of tests in the office to check like pulmonary function. And I failed that miserably. So from there it was, let's go see a pulmonologist. Let's go ahead and get a CT scan, chest x-ray. And over the course of what, maybe 2 weeks? I kind of tried to self-diagnose myself with like adult onset asthma. And after that pulmonary function test, it was obvious that that was not the case. So from there, we were sent to a pulmonologist where they thought it could be sarcoidosis or
Sarcoidosis, yeah, some type of interstitial lung
yeah,
disease. Nobody ever speculated that lung cancer could have even been an option. Just
never smoked. I didn't have any like factors that really made a red flag go up that it could be cancer. Um, so I got scheduled for a bronchoscopy early October 2020. And when I came out of the procedure, Nick could hear me in the waiting room. I was telling the nurses, like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Um, and the anesthesiologist walked by as I was saying that and ordered a stat chest x-ray, and my right lung had collapsed. So went back in, got a chest tube. Um, when I came out, I was on the unit, and from there, it just became we saw every doctor known to man. Epidemiologist, because we had just been to Colorado. They thought maybe I had a fungus in my lung. Uh, I mean, we saw everybody, and then
I think for a couple hours they thought you had tuberculosis. 4 or 5 days of just tests and treatments and poking and prodding. And the whole time she had a chest tube in and trying to, heal the collapsed lung. Eventually that happened. So yeah, the concerning thing was the pulmonologist who did the bronchoscopy. I think, looking back at it, he knew what was really happening. And he wasn't, he couldn't diagnose her, but he saw all these other tests being run and he saw just the misery that she was in that hospital stay. And we could tell he was frustrated. And at one point, when they moved her to the isolation room, when they thought she had tuberculosis, he came in and was furious that, somebody would be putting her through that and started ripping out all the
yeah, he was not happy.
tubes and, starting to get us out of there. So it was the first time I think that was for me the first time I realized it was more serious.
Early on, an oncologist did come into the room, so I think our we were already a little bit aware, and our primary care doctor had a conversation with us and said, there's some things that look a little off. They could be nothing, but sometimes they can be. It does look like it could be a little bit cancerous. We are seeing, I can't remember what he called them,
Bony masses.
bony masses. Come to find out, the cancer was stage 4, so it had already spread to my pelvis, my right femur, and my cervical spine. So that's what he saw, and we found that out later, but we kind of had a little bit of an inkling it could be a possibility. Everybody else was saying it could be this, it could be this. So we were holding tight to all the possibilities that they were giving us and putting that one like in the back, like surely not. That can't be happening. I think on the 10th they tried to tell us, and not so many words, but to discharge us, they had to give us a diagnosis. And so, because the tissue biopsy takes so long to get back, it's like 10 to 14 days. Our appointment with the oncologist here in town wasn't until I think Thursday the following week. So we had almost a week at home to sit there and just marinate on everything, not knowing where my primary tumor was, what exact type of cancer I had. We just knew I had cancer. So we came home and we had to tell our family, and they had so many questions and we had no answers, which was hard. I mean, I think I was just kind of in denial. Like, this is not happening. Like, it was, yeah, shock, a lot of shock.
When we then went to MD Anderson for second opinion, which was sort of in that week waiting period, we were to get it MD Anderson. So we drove down to Houston, which is about a 4 hour drive. And they ran all the tests, all the scans, all the things that she had just gone through the week before in the hospital. They sort of redid that in their environment. And they basically said, this is clear, no question, obviously a mass in your right middle lobe, and it's lung cancer. It's advanced stage, and we need to start treatment today. So all of the answers kind of smacked in the face in one day.
Yeah, I mean, and grant you, let's remember this is COVID, so I'm going in there by myself, FaceTiming him. And I think it's hard as anybody getting any news, but trying to not departmentalize, but trying to separate like my nurse brain from my patient brain and really absorb it all was really, really difficult for me. And I'm so glad I had FaceTime and second set of ears, because I honestly think I heard half what they were telling me, because I was trying to separate the two. It was a lot. It was a lot to hear, handle, navigate on my own.
I remember you asked, but we caught this pretty early, right? Basically, he just very bluntly said, no, we didn't. That was the sort of eye opener.
Yeah, I think because my symptoms came so fast, like from basically July. I don't really count March when my ribs started hurting. In reality, that probably is when it happened. But I'm just thinking July, August, September, 3 months. Like, I'm here. And he was like, no, no, no. You just, at least for me, it's been just trying to maintain normalcy in always in living life. Like, we have a very big zest for life and just going out and doing it. Like, don't hold back. I guess that's the thing too. You always think, oh, when I retire, I'll go do this. And well, that isn't going to happen for everybody. We don't know what's going to happen to us by the end of the day. So you may as well just live for each and every moment.